Okay, so here we are. We're in the final stage of finishing up with the Ram 1500 with the horn wire that got chewed off. So I came up with a few creative solutions to repair this. It was the classical Western Union solder joint with a little bit of high voltage splicing tape with a wrap of shrink wrap over it to get it to fit, and I put a little bit of silicone on the end of it, and this is the other end of the same gray wire with the yellow trace. So that now is put that back together, and what I ended up using was what they call instrument lead wire, which I got a big handful of it here. It's a silicone quality based tinned conductor. It's about 20, or no, about 18 gauge. And the other one I used a little bit of creativity on was the other red conductor here that got bit. It had few bite marks down it. Nothing of the insulation was ever really ripped off, and the conductors were not ripped off. So I ended up using a bit of silicone out of the tube, and I just smeared it on. And let's see, what did I use? Lifetime GE silicone, weatherproof, was windows, doors, attics. Bottom line is, it's still silicone, and all I wanted to do was cover up the insulation. The one other little wire way up in there, you can hardly see, I kind of smeared a bit of silicone around one tiny bite mark. Again, the conductors were not cut. I just want to, you can't go and fix that either. So I'm hoping that. So now all I need to do is wait for my silicone to dry. And as we look over here on the bench, I got two big rolls of split tubing. So I got no shortage of that, and tie wraps. And I'll start getting that back together soon. So yeah, that should solve the problem. Anyways, it all started out with a horn that didn't work. Now the interesting thing, backtracking about horns, is here there is a gray wire with a yellow tracer and a black wire. So I presume, based on the horns, because I don't believe the horns need a ground, because I didn't find it when I tested them, that the gray wire with the yellow tracer is the positive. So what I had done was I used my meter, and every time I pushed on my horn going between positive and ground, the meter made a little bit of an effort to try to read a voltage. The other conductor, which is negative to when I went to negative, every time I pushed on the horn, the meter said 0 DC volts were trying to come through. So it was telling me that the positive wire was badly chewed and almost not making any form of continuity. The horns both tested out fine quite quickly. There they are there. They've got to go back on. And again, when I proved them, I just put a positive and negative off a 12-volt battery in there, and those two blasted away. And I did not know at the time that there, in this TPI M, that there was the horn relay in it, because every time I kept pushing it, I kept hearing a little click click, and I learned later on that the horn relay is built into the motherboard under the processor, not one of the removable relays. And yeah, well, I thank everybody else who put stuff on there, because really I learned a lot, and I would have been somewhat apprehensive to find it. Even though I knew the relay was there on the TPI M, I couldn't find it. And I touched it and touched it and touched it, and I kept saying it's in there, but it wasn't any of the ones that moved. Then after watching all the other videos, yeah, I found out what's going on. Anyways, have fun with the squirrel damage. Yeah, lots of fun.